Hello, greetings. Thanks for stopping by. Health and happiness to you. I'm Skol, and this is Ben Petersen. And what is up, guys? That's the famous intro tagline from Ben Petersen. We're going to look at his product, his knife design, the Big Banter blade from WE. That's the main thing we're doing here, but a little bit more about Ben Petersen. He started his podcast working for BladeHQ called WE Banter, and his opening line, "What is up, guys?" And then later he got into knife designs, and he started his own knife company called Knafs. And he also has a long-term goal of figuring it out and being able to produce more made in the USA products. So we've seen Ben for years, and he has a good reputation. Everybody likes him, and he's known for being a very nice person. And we're all rooting for Ben to be successful and to figure it out and make USA knives. We're all rooting for him to be successful on that. And I actually met Ben Petersen at the last Blade Show. It was my first time coming to Blade Show, and that was in June 2025, my first Blade Show. And on my list of people I wanted to meet was Ben Petersen, so I got in line, and when I met him, he handed me this token. He said he's been doing this for years. He makes little Knafs tokens. Each one's unique each year. So you can see 2025, it's got a knife stabbing into a peach. Georgia, Blade Show's in Atlanta, Georgia, and Georgia's known for peaches, so that's why the peach is there. And I was looking for any hidden meaning in the token, because I figured there'd probably be more meaning to the symbols. And I count 5 pieces of fruit, and I count 2 slices, so maybe that was 25 for the year 25, maybe, if I got that right. I also noticed 2 little tassels on the end of the lanyard and 5 knots, so maybe that's 2-5. I don't know if they were trying to do that, but maybe. Let me know if you know if there's any other secret meanings there. But anyway, it also says Knafs Blade Show 2025, Atlanta, Georgia, and on the front is the Knafs logo. So he said he passes these out every year, and he has a long-term dream that somebody that's collected these for years, one day will come up to him and dump them all out and say, "Look, I've got them all." That's what he said. But if you think about it, he handed this to me. This actually has a Ben Petersen fingerprint on it, so maybe I shouldn't be touching this and put it in the vault. But anyway, that's one of my souvenir mementos. But after meeting him and enjoying all his videos on YouTube for years and years and years, I kind of felt bad. I actually didn't have any of his knives or products. So I went to his shop website at knafs.com, and I figured he's probably got something I'd be interested in. So I would just look over all his products and pick the one that was the most interesting to me. So here's a little card that came with my order. It kind of shows all the products available at Knafs. So here you got the Lulu series, large Lulu, little Lulu, big Lulu, and then the Lander, which is up to 6 now and growing. And you can see I've got the Lander 6 right here. It's a smaller one. The keychain, if you can read that. And then I'm not sure what this is. Something else listed here. Something new. It says new right there. And then in addition to these products made by Knafs, he also is carrying his collaboration knives. So he has his WE Banter, and then Civivi Baby Banter, and I think some others. So anyway, he's carrying those on the website, and I looked at all the products, and this is the one that appealed to me most, so I made an order, and the keychain was less than $15. I think there was a holiday sale or something, but the normal price is about $15. And so I selected the Big Banter. If you've been watching my videos, you know that I kind of like bigger. I tend to gravitate towards bigger, thicker, is my thing, so I like a lot of cold steels. And if there's an XL or a mini, I'd probably go towards XL or normal. But here we go. It's the Big Banter. So also you can see it's in the box. I don't normally do unboxing so much because I like to dig deep into a knife before I make a video about it. So I don't do unboxings. But when there's a worthy unboxing that I liked, what I'll do is I'll package up again like I did with the Jack Wolf Benny clip. You can go watch that video. I'll repackage it and then unbox it again on video to relive the experience. So here's the relive, probably the last time I'll unbox it because I'll keep it out after this. So let's jump right into that. We're looking at the WE knives Big Banter. So to start off with, it's got this sleeve with a geometry, which is interesting and different. And I did notice when I was unboxing it, it said made better. So I was like, okay, they're raising the bar. I like that. I remember, okay, the bar is raised. Let's see if they live up to it. It has a big box with a nice logo. And then you got a big pouch, because this is a bigger size knife. And then WE made better. And then we got some stickers in here. So here's the Big Banter. Might as well lay this down somewhere. We're looking at the Big Banter. And then didn't recognize this at first, so I had to look it up. This was called the Excitron by WE. So just another knife, another sticker they throw in there. And then we got WE. Might as well throw this on the table. WE knife. Sticker. Product warranty. A goldish colored, tan goldish WE cleaning cloth. A little product catalog. Desiccant. And one thing to notice about here is this fur lining and additional storage pouches. So I thought that was different because a lot of knives come with a pouch. And I do use these as organizers. So you can grab up all your little things, throw them in a pouch, and then throw it in your backpack. And you've collected all your little small trinkets, can be organized. I also have one of these I have a Torx set screws that I threw in a pouch just to keep it all together, because it didn't come with a good carrying case. Anyway, this one's got the extra compartments, so I think this one and it's larger, so I'll find a use for this one for sure. And I got the bag, so I'll set all this stuff aside. And part of the opening experience also is stickers. So the order from the Knafs store came with this additional cleaning cloth separately. So you got the Space Kitties, which I think is meant to appeal to women, because the knife market is mostly like way over 95% guys. So if they can jump into the female market, that's untapped. So I guess that's the strategy there. Space Kitty sticker came, a Knafs logo. They have a nice simple logo, and then everything you just saw in the box. Here's the box that the little keychain came in. Purple. Okay, let's get to the knife. So, what is up, guys? That's kind of his tagline. So even before we open the knife, you can see what is up, guys. WIUG, what is up, guys. That's the meaning of that logo. So let's open the knife. You can see it's G10. Oh, there we go. Give it a little bit of oomph. So we got a accent color, a blue thumb stud, G10, WE logo on the pivot. And I remember one of the first things I noticed that I liked about this knife was the black wash is so extra rich, dark, extra dark. So you've seen black wash before with the more of a like ripple effect. This is filled in a lot deeper. So a nice rich black wash. And then G10 feels good in the hand. Got some choils here. So choils are a little bit controversial because some people like them, some people don't. One thing about this knife is I found the Outdoor 55 channel because I was looking for reviews on this knife, and he had a good one that I watched, and he talked about the choil on this. Outdoor 55 doesn't like choil so much, but his end conclusion is he liked the knife, but one of the things he didn't like was having a sharpening choil, then a guard, then another choil. Too much choil, and he would prefer just to use the handle. Now, what I would say about this choil that I noticed was when I just grabbed the choil, it's almost like a trigger pull. That feels nice. And it seems like there's extra choil, and I would prefer if that guard wasn't there, because my finger's not anywhere close to the edge, so I don't think we need this guard here on this version. That's one thing I would say about it. So you can see there's a little bit of jimping here, and nice long blade. We'll measure it here in a second. We got 2 standoffs. We got a flush screws in the pocket clip, and it's reversible. And you got a lanyard hole, and it's a liner lock. Then I always like to look at the stop pin. Let's see if the stop pin is good construction. Nice thick stop pin. That looks good. And there are internal, let's get the flashlight, liners, inset liners. And you can see, well, let's see if you can see, get the focus and the angle. There, you can see the milling. You got liners in there, milled out for weight reduction. And this is a liner lock, so you knew it had liners anyway. So I like the stop pin construction here. I think it's good. One else thing I would point out, need the flashlight again. When you do the heel of your blade, I like for the heel to cup the stop pin. This one could use a little bit more cupping. So let me explain. When you have a stop pin that's round, and then the heel of the blade comes up against it, it's only touching here at the tip. But if you make a little cup on the end of your heel that cups it, you get better weight distribution. That helps the longevity of your stop pin. So I always like to see a cup. So this one could use some cupping there. So those were 2 things. So one positive thing, I like the rich thing. Could probably use a little bit less choil, or at least get rid of the guard here. It's unneeded, and cupping would be nice on the heel. Everything else is structurally good. The back spacers are spread out and kind of go around the corner. That gives you a triangle of stability. But when a handle gets larger, I personally would prefer partial back spacers. You get even more stability and rigidity. But you can see the liner is nice and thick. So you have thick liners, and that gives you good steel liners, good rigidity in the knife. So as you can see, it's big. Before we do the actual measurements, let's do some comparisons. The overall shape kind of reminded me of the raccoon. So here's a raccoon. You can see the Big Banter's bigger. And then over here I got a Paramilitary 2, the standard comparison model. Everything's gonna fall. Here we go. Let's do a Spidey flick. So actually, the Paramilitary 2 comes in looking pretty close. And your raccoon's a little bit smaller. But with having the choil, well, that's got a choil too. Choils all around. There's just a visual comparison. Now let's do some measurements. We've got, when I saw it was so much bigger than the raccoon, I thought it was going to be bigger against the PM2 also. Blade length 3 3/4, so 3.75 inch blade length, and then your cutting edge is 3 inches, and your overall length is 8.5 inches, so that's big. And then your handle length, you can actually get over 5 inches when you use the choil, but the actual handle is 4.5, so that's plenty adequate. You can see you can choke back, so that gives you a lot of blade reach, and when you choke back, even more reach. So that's one of the good things I like. I like a knife I can choke back and get reach. You can choke up and then choke up some more and use the choil. So there's plenty of room for your fingers. I wear large size gloves, and this would easily fit even someone with extra large hands. And then let's do the stock thickness. I think it was listed at 0.13, so let's check it. And we'll give it a tear. And we'll check behind the thumb studs. 0.127, 0.126, and we'll check up here. There's still some flat of the thing. 0.1265, so about the same. So pretty close, round up to 0.13. So that's a little bit over 3 millimeters thick. That's good. I like pocket knives that have their full thickness, and the flat goes all the way out to here, so you keep your thickness extended down the blade. Let's look at some more details. So other than the WE pivot, there's no other billboarding on this side of the blade. You got that nice black stonewash, extra rich. And then on the other side, it says Banter on the pocket clip. And then down here we got the What Is Up Guys logo, so not too much billboarding. So do I like this knife? Yes, I like the size. It's one of the bigger ones you can get, so I like getting the bigger ones. Definitely looks good, it looks classy. You got G10. How does it feel? It's got a little bit of texture. You can focus on the texture. You can feel that grip, a little bit grippy, micro texture, and that little accent color is nice. So there's the WE Big Banter, and then let's take a little look at this guy as a little bonus. So a little keychain, it says Knafs on it because it's produced by Knafs, and it's also very small, but it's also got the What Is Up Guys logo, and then it says Lander 6. And I got the purple one. I saw the video. He went to Taiwan and met the lady that helps produce these from Taiwan. Let's compare it to another keychain, and it's a back lock. You usually don't have a lock on a keychain knife. So about the same. Here's a Swiss Tech, about the same size you'd expect from keychains, so I'll find a place to use this new keychain. And also the blade steel, I think it was 20 CV, which is the same as M390. So that's a very good and higher edge retention, above average high-end steel. So just like M390, which I think is more well known, but 20 CV, that's what this is. And let's get the weight. So over here, I'm going to close it. 4.35 ounces. So that's in the higher end, but that's what you'd expect when you have a higher end or bigger blade. You'd expect bigger weight, so 4.3, but that's still in the acceptable range. I don't call a knife heavy until it gets over 5 ounces. So to deploy the thumb stud, you need to get behind the stud, and on this one it seems like you got to flick this way and just give it a nice oomph and it'll go. So there's the flick. And when I watched the Outdoor 55 channel, he's a lefty, and he said he was having trouble getting his thumbnail behind. So there is a problem there, that they need a little bit more space to get for lefties, and maybe you can see it. There's a little bit more space. So you just saw me do it. You can do it righty, no problem, but lefty, there's a problem. The frame is a little bit too close to the backspacer, and you need to get your thumbnail behind there. So I'm unable to spidey flick it. I just can't quite get enough there. I can't even budge the detent. But with the regular thumb stud, it's no problem. And then Outdoor 55, what he did is he sanded down the left side so that he could get his thumbnail behind there. He said he didn't have to remove too much, and he actually demonstrated what he did. So he said just a little bit more space there and you can do it. But I'm not going to bother with that. I'll just use, I'm a righty anyway. I do like to spidey flick, but on this one it's going to be a normal thumb stud deployment. So that was one last comment. And was there anything else I'm missing? So good blade, looks nice, deep stone wash. Big Banter. So I'm gonna carry this. I had put it back in the box. I wanted to get this video done so I could start carrying it again. So now we're ready to carry, and I don't think I have anything else to say. So keep rooting for Ben and Knafs, and I'm glad I'm found something to support Ben and add to my collection. And it's my first WE knife as well. So thanks for stopping by today, and I do recommend the WE. I pointed out everything that was positive and negative about it, but it's a nice big knife, which I like, and I do like the choil, except for probably don't need that finger guard, but I think over 90% of the things I do with the knife are closer to the tip, but I also do still like a big knife anyway. So good knife that looks nice. It looks better than a typical budget knife. So thanks for stopping by. Go check out some of the other videos at Skol EDC, and remember, always carry a knife.